On Monday, January 29th, 2024, we boarded the Allure of the Seas at Cruise Terminal 1 in Port Canaveral, Florida, for a short 4-night cruise that would take us to Nassau, Bahamas, and Royal Caribbean's private island, Perfect Day at CocoCay. Other than a few minor issues, we had a great cruise and really enjoyed our third cruise on the Allure of the Seas. This cruise review is based on this one specific cruise on the Allure of the Seas and is our opinion of the ship, crew, and experience in general. As this was a shortened cruise, we did not get a chance to try or experience several areas or features of the ship, so certain elements of the cruise on the Allure of the Seas might be missing from this review. As we usually do for our cruise reviews, we'll start with the good and finish with the bad. Starting off with the good, after winning a Royal Up bid a few days before the start of the cruise, we found out that we'd be staying in a residential interior view stateroom, number 9205. This cruise was our second time in this type of room, but it had been many years, so it was a new experience for us. We really enjoyed the stateroom and determined this room type would be a great alternative to an ocean view balcony if we needed to save money on a future cruise. Everything in the stateroom was in perfect working order. Wilson was our stateroom attendant, and he was amazing. We saw him often, and he was constantly checking to see if we needed anything. Number 2, the embarkation day at Port Canaveral was perfect. The process was fast and efficient and went from the garage to the terminal and then onto the ship in record time. A 10:30 a.m. reservation greatly helped with this experience, so it's worth it to get the best reservation time slot you can when your cruise check-in opens up. Number 3, the main dining room was exactly what we'd hoped for and had experienced so many times before on previous Royal Caribbean cruises. For 3 of the 4 nights of the cruise, we had dinner in the MDR with My Time Dining as the selection. We sat at tables 136 and 148 on deck 3 and experienced top-notch service from 2 waiter, assistant waiter teams that waited on us during the cruise. For 2 of the 4 nights of the cruise, we had breakfast in the MDR and experienced excellent service and perfectly prepared food. Number 4, on this cruise we tried Sabor for the first time and it was fantastic. Shelly Ann was our server, and both she and the restaurant were amazing. I had chicken and corn tortilla soup, pork carnitas, Mexican rice and Mexican beans. Maria had the red snapper ceviche and pan-seared snapper. Number 5, as is usually the case for us, one bar on the ship during a cruise becomes our favorite for that cruise, and this one was the Schooner Bar. After stopping in there on the first night and discovering their custom menu featuring the toasted marshmallow old-fashioned, the remaining nights would see us deciding to visit the Schooner Bar over other options on the ship, including the Trellis Bar in Central Park. Number 6, the bands performing throughout the ship during the cruise were absolutely amazing. They provided some of the best entertainment we've ever experienced on a Royal Caribbean cruise in recent memory. The location of their platform on the Royal Promenade was yet another reason to visit the Schooner Bar each evening for a drink. Number 7, the Park Cafe on Deck 8 was a good alternative to the Windjammer for a small, quick lunch. Their roast beef sandwich combined with a custom-made salad was the perfect lunch, and the optional seating out in Central Park certainly doesn't hurt. Number 8, based on Maria's testimony for this one, the spa and fitness center were a big hit with her. Pre-cruise, she signed up for a fitness session and made regular use of the gym. Plus, she also booked the thermal suite for the duration of the cruise. My exercise came mostly from walking all around the ship and recording videos. Number 9, the Ocean Aria show in the Aqua Theater is very popular and something that usually books up rather quickly. We caught the show late on the first night and it was fantastic. It reminded me of one of the shows we saw in the Harmony of the Seas a few years prior, And anytime we're on an Oasis class ship, we make sure to catch the current show in the Aqua Theater. Number 10, the Blue Planet show in the Amber Theater was very entertaining. The theater itself is similar to what you'll find on other Oasis class ships in the Royal Caribbean fleet. Because of the size of those ships, the performance area is large, well lit, and features an excellent sound system. In this show, they made good use of the height of the stage area, as we were always on the lookout for performers who would appear on sections of the stage high above the other performers. Number 11, when you've been away from the Royal Promenade on an Oasis class ship for a while, and your last cruise was on a smaller Royal Caribbean ship, which for us was the Serenade of the Seas, setting foot on the Allure of the Seas Royal Promenade feels nice. The width of the ship means the promenade has plenty of room for various booths in the center, while still providing plenty of room for the passengers to move around. The usual hits are all there: guest services, Cafe Promenade, Sorrento's, Bolero's, Starbucks, and the Rising Tide Bar. One thing to note here is that the Allure of the Seas was scheduled for a dry dock that would implement the Royal Amplification program, but missed it due to the shutdown in 2020. It's likely that Royal Caribbean will eventually complete this work, and the Royal Promenade on the Allure could see a few changes, such as the Champagne Bar being replaced by the Robot Bar, something we saw on the Harmony of the Seas during our 2022 cruise. And now we come to the bad. Number 1, the Wi-Fi powered by Starlink is still not quite ready for prime time. It's getting closer. During our cruise, it mostly worked for things like browsing social media sites, but it still needs to be more stable for anyone to work on the ship during a cruise. This topic comes up from time to time on our Royal Caribbean Cruising group on Facebook, and can depend on how someone needs to work as to whether or not they'll have problems. In my case, I tried to do live streams with the lowest settings for the video and had mixed results. The issue seems to be capacity, since the speed tests collectively showed passable bandwidth. Either the ship doesn't have enough receiving dishes, Royal Caribbean hasn't paid for the highest level of service from Starlink, Starlink doesn't actually have enough capacity yet, or the IT department on the ship is throttling certain applications. Maybe one day we'll have consistent, functional, stable internet at sea. Number 2, printed versions of the cruise compass are now very hard to come by. Thankfully, our stateroom attendant Wilson was able to hook us up, but this shouldn't be this hard. The guest services desk used to have some available on a wall next to the desk, but they've stopped that. Number 3, on numerous occasions and in various places, we couldn't hear announcements from the captain or the cruise director. The position of speakers in some areas of the ship and noisy venues like the Flow Rider that kept going during the announcement didn't help. There were other times when we could hear the announcement, but it was sometimes hard to understand because of the poor quality of the speakers. Number 4, we experienced a lot of issues with the Royal Caribbean app while on the ship and connected to the ship's Wi-Fi, which is very unusual. My calendar in the app never displayed anything, not my time dining reservations, show reservations, etc. Nothing. Plus, Maria's app would literally get error messages from time to time. And finally, number 5, this last one is mostly a design issue, but we experienced it on the Harmony of the Seas and now on the Allure of the Seas. The Windjammer is just not usable. It's cramped, and when it's busy, it becomes a mess to navigate. The designers of the ship didn't give it the proper amount of space. Hopefully this will be corrected on the Icon class. We spent most of the cruise avoiding the Windjammer after giving it a try on Embarkation Day for lunch and breakfast on day 2, which was a sea day. And that's it. As I mentioned at the top, this was a shortened cruise, something Royal Caribbean started doing in 2023. New cruisers can go to the Bahamas for either 3 or 4 nights on an Oasis-class ship to get a feel for cruising. In our case, we wanted to see the new cruise terminal in Nassau, Bahamas. That's just opened in 2023. And since we don't live far from Port Canaveral, it felt like a good reason to revisit our old friend, the Allure of the Seas. Thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about our experiences on the Allure or the ship in general, and make sure you're subscribed to catch all of the coming vlog episodes.